This could be the most revelatory and insightful week of the entire year for some of us. We have Mercury coming off the retrograde. We've got Venus in stunning aspects to be able to translate what the heck is going on in our lives. So if you've been sitting with big decisions to be making, this is a week to contemplate them. If you've been sitting with purpose, like path forward, if you've been sitting in a state of confusion, like what is going on in the world, or some of us are feeling what is going on inside of myself, like I am changing so fast, or this world is changing so fast, I don't know how to take a step forward. This is a really, really good week for opening up. There's 2 doors, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Opening up 2 doors to getting these insights and these revelations. Door number 1 is, we could say it kind of a masculine way, is door number 1, mercurial. What's Mercury? We'll talk about all these astrology details in a minute, but Mercury is the mind to be able to translate, to get these insights via thought, via written word, via conversation, communicating. So that's one pathway. Now the other pathway, this one could give you even deeper insights, bigger revelations. And this is the one that we oftentimes don't necessarily lean super hard into, but this is the week to lean super hard into it. And we'll give you exactly why and how to get deeper into this too in a minute. But it's the feminine path. It's the let me open up to what is my body saying. Right? Because the body is always talking, right? Your gut is always talking. Your heart is always talking. And so really feeling into, like women's sixth sense, they'll sometimes say, or the feminine intuition. I know what I know, but I don't know how I know it. Oh my God. We all want to go there this week. Like whatever it is that you got to do to get into your body, to access body wisdom, because she's talking loud this week and she's given really good clarity, really good insights. Part of this is placements of Venus. Also, part of it is this really interesting aspect I've been watching between Persephone and Mary Magdalene. This is still going on. So if you were here with me last week, we talked a lot about Persephone, Mary Magdalene, and Uranus, the Great Awakener. But it's opening up. Let me give us, before I dive deep, I can go so deep into these archetypes. But if I were to give us just a little bit of a feel into this, it's like Uranus is really opening up the feminine's capacity to be an oracle. So we've got this feminine oracle switching on in us this week. So if you were to just feel into your feminine oracle doesn't think linear. She doesn't think logical. That is not the feminine oracle. The feminine oracle is that line that I shared just a little earlier of you know what you know, but you don't know how you know it. Feminine oracle is I just have this gut feel. Feminine, or like the feminine is so tapped into so much more than the 5 senses. And so it's really giving ourselves the practices. I know that I can oftentimes get really into my masculine. We live in such a masculine-based world, right? We got to be in our masculine to do a lot of things in this world, or to even like resonate with most of the structures in this world. We've got to shift into the masculine to like attune to those masculine structures. But so it's very helpful to know what it is for us that shifts us into our own feminine wisdom, our own, you could say, body-based wisdom, our own heart wisdom, our own like life connected into the infinite, all of everything wisdom. Okay, that was a big intro for this week's astrology. I want to say it's super great to be here with you. I am crazy stoked. I'm crazy grateful. Y'all like light up my life and light up my world. I've seen some amazing comments on last week's YouTube video. Some of you were with me in the Richard Rudd Instagram live. Thank you all for just being there and the love and the joy. If you missed that Instagram live, I'll put a link to it. It was stunning. One of the most mystical conversations I've had with another human being on YouTube, on Instagram. Like, I don't know how some of these things come through on these different platforms, but blew my mind. It was beautiful. If a mystical conversation about 2026 and what's coming our way resonates, or you feel like, gosh, that might serve me to go listen to, go check it out. Check it out. Skip the first 5 minutes because I was having some technical Mercury retrograde difficulties. So just skip into when you see Richard pop onto the screen. That's when it gets good. All right, let's dive into this. So I'm going to take us through November 24th to the 30th. This, for those of us in the US, includes Thanksgiving. For those of us around the world, it includes Black Friday. I find it so interesting that Black Friday is like spreading like wildfire. Of course it is, right? Like, blah, blah. Anyways, we'll go day by day. I'll give you the biggest transits of the day, some of the different energies of the day, and I want to give us how we can tap into this revelation. Like a lot of practices or some journal prompts, how you can get these insights that are available, how you can get these revelations that are going on this week. The first thing that pops into my head before I dive into this is I have such a hard time bringing words to this transit that I'm staring at and what I'm feeling and what I'm diving into in my own personal practices. And this transit that's happening now, this week, of course, but it's bigger, it's longer term, is there are these two monster archetypal energies sitting at 29 degrees. This is karmic and heretic. It's closing of doors. It's ending of chapters. And they're just chilling. They're literally just grinding in and grinding in and grinding in. It's Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, and it's Uranus, who's at 29 degrees of Taurus. They've already shifted earlier into their next signs, right? Which is Eris. That's Neptune's moving into Aries. I know I'm getting all technical here, but just bear with me. I'm going to translate this in a second. And it's Taurus moving into Gemini. But before they get us into these new chapters, it's a 7-year and a 14-year cycle. Neptune and Uranus, they take 7 years, Uranus to get through a sign, 14 years for Neptune to get through a sign. So these are like big chapters closing. They're big endings. Now, last week, it was really karmic-y, because that new moon fell at 28 degrees. These are both at 29 degrees. So it was like last week we got the energetic hit, like the energetic, just the raw energy of like, bang, here's some karmic shit you haven't seen yet. It may not have been comprehensible yet, though. We weren't able to translate it into what does this mean for my life, or even what the going on. It could be a lot of that, of just the energies feel weird. You maybe felt weird in your body last week. Life was delivering like interesting things, but you haven't been able to translate that into what does this mean for my life? What does this mean for my path? Like, what does this 29 degrees karmically, what are the chapters closing? What is coming to an end? What am I stepping into as the new me? So that's kind of like the bigger backdrop of what we're sitting in this week around revelations and insights. And that just felt really important for me to kind of, I did a little Instagram post. If you don't hang out with us on Instagram, I've kind of taken over our Instagram channel. So anything on there, it's my fault. If you're like, wow, Sabrina, this is shit, that's me. If you're like, wow, this is so insightful and so amazing, that's me. But I put together this little carousel, kind of like an info, sort of a swipe file that you can go through on Instagram. And it's got some really good questions around this 29 degrees of Pisces, with Neptune being there, and this 29 degrees of Gemini with with Uranus being there. And it's super simple, but they're reflective questions, and it could really help. So we'll put a link to that little thread too. Hang out with us on Instagram if that serves. If not, that's totally cool. But that's a way that you could get some more reflective questions to open up to some more of this revelation that's available this week and some insights that's available this week. All right, let's do this thing day by day. Got to dive in. All right, so the 24th of November, that's Monday. We start the week off on Monday with Venus conjunct Mercury retrograde. Now remember, we started this conversation saying there's two doorways. We want to open up to both the revelation and the insight coming through the mind, Mercury, and coming through the body, Venus. Coming through the masculine, Mercury, coming through the feminine, Venus. They're conjunct. Now, these are the last days of Mercury retrograde. He stations direct on the 29th. So this is the last week that he's going backwards. Let me give us some more words around this. So when he's going retrograde, he's the psychopomp. He's diving into your inner world to be a guide to your soul. That's really Mercury retrograde. So he's guide to your soul, going in the inner world. He's been going for a while now. Now he meets up with your body, with your heart, with your feminine, with Venus. So it's literally the psychopomp has been diving. He's been rearranging things. He's been getting you back on your soul path. And he meets up with the feminine and he goes, hey, could you translate some of this for me through the body? Could you translate some of this for me through the emotions? Can you translate some of this for me through the heart, through the belly, through gut feels, through intuitive hits, through the body wisdom? Stunning what's going on. Monday, amazing day. We have a body wisdom workshop. That's actually on holiday special. Our holiday specials just opened up today as this video came out. It's 50% off. I think it's like $27. And that's the body wisdom workshop. So if you're like, Sabrina, I don't know how to get into my feminine. I don't know how to get into my body wisdom. Like, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about. That's a very simple guided journey that will take you right into this body wisdom that I'm talking about. But Monday, feel into for you, what gets you into your body? Is it dance? For some people, it's like dancing. For some people, it's movement. For some people, it's like, I go to yoga and I start to do some breath work. For some people, it's working with, just like Shakti, life force energy, and I want to move it through me. And then how can I then like hear my body speaking to me? It's like you want to then be able to create the pathway for the body to speak to you. Like I get stomach aches. This is just part of the way that my body speaks to me. I get stomach aches and it literally is telling me there is something you're not digesting in life. There's a conversation you haven't digested yet. There's something you haven't digested. You haven't digested this energy, this environment, this decision, this something. And then it's like I dive deeper into the stomach ache. Like that's my doorway in is the stomach ache. And you go in and I go in and I go deeper and I go deeper and I go deeper. Like, what is my body saying to me? What is my body saying to me? The body doesn't lie. Like, it doesn't lie. The body keeps score. That's a book, right? The body keeps the score. It's so stunning. So Monday, really feeling into what are some body-based practices that I can do that will open up to these deeper insights that want to be revealed. Mercury literally wants to give the body all the insights, wants to give the feminine all the insights. He's like, look, I've got this whole slew of insights and information that I've gathered on my journey into the underworld, this person's underworld, into their soul as their psychopomp, and I want to give you the insights. But if we stay super busy, if we stay stuck in the mind, if we're distracted by all sorts of things in our external world, we're not going to get those insights. And so Monday, whatever that is for you, make the space. If you want the guided journey, check out the body wisdom. Again, it's on holiday special. You'll find a link for holiday specials. There's 4 programs that are 40 to 50% off. Dive into the things that resonate or the things that serve for you. Okay, so that's happening on Monday. Also on Monday, I like this because this really supports the psychopomp journey. Psychopomp journey, your soul's highest path forward, your highest expression of self in this life. And so we have Mars squaring the nodes of fate. Now, we talked about this last week. So last week, if you were hanging out with me, last week we talked about Hecate first squared the nodes during that new moon. Then Merlin squared the nodes of fate. So we've got these like 2 kind of sorcerers. Hecate is queen of the witches. She's an oracle. She's a sorcerer. And then we have Merlin, who's a wizard, just sorcerer, like wizard. So we've got these 2 like medicine men, medicine women, wizards, witches, sorcerers hitting the nodes of fate. Sometimes not super translatable. witches and wizards, they're not always translatable. They kind of work on the other side of the veil. So again, pointing to last week being very energetic. It's very like the raw energies. And some of us are good at reading the other side of the veil. Some of us not so good. Like I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to that sometimes. Like I don't know. I'm just working raw energy here. I don't know what the heck it means. I don't know. But this week, Mars, Mars is 3D physical world. Mars is now squares the nodes of fate on Monday. So we've kind of had like the witches and the wizards hitting the nodes of fate. Nodes of fate, that's your highest path forward, your north node, where you're headed in this life, but also what you got to clean up in the south node to get to where you're headed in this life. So now it's Mars is there, and Mars wants to do your bidding. That's Mars. Mars wants to do your bidding. Mars wants to take action out into the world. Mars is a warrior, but Mars right now is a warrior for your nodes of fate. Mars is a warrior for your soul path. How good is this? We have Mercury, who's in Psychopomp for your soul path, like really guide to your soul path, translating all the good stuff to your feminine. While Mars, the masculine, is like, and I'm going to do your bidding out in the world. I'm going to take some action for your highest path forward. So stinking good. So something you could do here around the revelation. I like doing this practice a lot, actually. Around revelation and things revealing themselves is you go, what am I being just moved toward? That would be Mars. That would be more of a Mars thing. Like, I sometimes go like, where does the juice want to go? Like, where do I want to be moved toward? What action do I feel like I'm being moved by greater forces? That's a really good one. There are greater forces at play. And if I just sort of let go of my like ego little self controlling everything, small self kind of a way, and I let go into there are greater forces at play. There are greater forces at play. And if I was to just let go into, like the web of life and trust these greater forces at play, I would be moved in this direction. I would be moved to take this action. Very powerful. I mean, it's going to last Monday, Tuesday. So you don't have to go like, oh my God, if I miss Monday, I'm out, game over. No. You've got Monday, Tuesday, to Wednesday, I would say, like, you're all good. These things aren't just like, and it's only this day. All right, so that's how the week kicks off. Now, Tuesday, all those energies are still at play. Tuesday, we have, this is such an interesting, deep, long-term kind of, let me just feel how I want to bring this through for us. It's like I'm doing this like a deeper composting of self. It's like a deeper, like deep, long-term internal transformation. Deep, long-term is this Chiron Eris conjunction. I've been talking about this thing forever, Chiron, Eris, it's the truth warrior, that's Eris, a goddess of chaos and discord, to bring out truth, to bring out true self. Conjunct Chiron, wounded healer. Your deepest wounds are part of your true self. Your deepest wounds, I'm the shamanic initiator. I'm going to initiate you into your greatest self. So that's been going on a long time. Now, Tuesday is when Jupiter squares Eris. Chiron is at 23 degrees. Eris is at 24 degrees. So they're only a degree apart, but they're dancing together for like a year and a half. Now, Jupiter's retrograde right now. Jupiter squares Eris. What does this do? This brings a lot of energy to the goddess of chaos and discord. But isn't this interesting? In a week of revelations, and this could be the biggest, most revelatory week for many of us of the entire year, is we have Jupiter grace bombing. That's Jupiter, or grace bomb. Jupiter is the amplifier. Jupiter will just light up the truth. That's really what's going on Tuesday. Light up the truth. And I don't care if this truth causes a little bit of chaos. I don't care if this truth rocks the boat. But I'm going to light it up. That's what Jupiter's saying. Square Eris, I'm going to light up the truth. So So Tuesday, one of the questions we could ask ourselves, and again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's not like just on Tuesday, but Tuesday, we could ask ourselves, I'll give you a couple different questions because there's a few different doorways into working with Eris and the gifts of Eris and the Shakti of Eris when she's lit up like this. One is, where is there discord in my life? Where is there like a rub, like something in my life is rubbing. For me, I really like live, I really attune every day. One of my daily practices is to like tune into this like harmonic resonance, this like harmonic universal rhythm that I just attune to. I attune to it. And then what's beautiful is then it's very clear when there's something that's out of harmony in my life. There's a dissonance. So this could be a really good doorway in. Where's the dissonance? Where's there, you could call it discord. You could call it a rub. It's out of rhythm. It's out of harmony. It's out of balance. Really powerful practice. And instead of, a lot of times we'll take those things and we'll not want to go in there. We'll hide them from ourselves or we'll sweep them under the carpet. Just like, I'm not going to bring my attention to the things that are out of rhythm. I'm just going to attune over here where it's, sweet and in rhythm and flow and feels really good. But I'm just going to avoid the fact that there's a serious rub in my relationship. I'm going to avoid the fact that there's a serious rub in my home and where I'm living right now. I'm just going to avoid that. But what Tuesday is saying is like, the gifts are in bringing your awareness there. It's the gift of bringing your consciousness there. It's to the rub, to the disharmony, to the chaos, to the thing. There's a gift there, and go there with love. Jupiter's benevolent. Jupiter's grace. You go there with grace. You go there with love. You go there with acceptance. You go there with, this is just part of my path. This is part of my path. What is it revealing? That's the word of the week. What is it revealing to me? What is it? Because it will reveal a deeper truth, a deeper truth, a deeper truth. And Eris's deep truths, they're in total alignment with soul. So again, it's this psychopomp journey of Mercury. It's Mars square the nodes of fate. It's soul. It's all about soul. It's about true self. Eris is holding true self, despite it rocking the boat potentially. Like that's a doorway is in the disharmony. All right, so that's Tuesday, the 25th. Let's move on to Wednesday. Wednesday, we've got some more Venusian energy now. So remember, we talked about Venus, the feminine, at the start of the week. She was conjunct Mercury. So it's like getting those insights through our body, letting our body talk. The body's got a lot to say. There's a brain that is beyond just the brain that's in your head. There's a gut brain, there's a heart brain. So really opening up to these different places within self. Now, here's where Venus is starting to translate through the body more. Venus is trine Saturn. So she's trine Saturn on Wednesday, then she's trine Jupiter. Let's talk about this. So Venus as translator. Saturn is on Saturn's father karma, Lord of time, father karma. So this is also very fated, very destined. Saturn has gone backwards into Pisces. So remember I was talking about these 29 degrees are very karmic. They're like cleaning up, closing the final last doors, the final last little karmic bits to see, the decisions to make, the things that we need to move away from, the systems collapsing. What is it in your life that you haven't quite let go of yet? You haven't let dissolve yet. You haven't let the old system collapse in your life. This could be mental structures. This could be belief systems within ourselves. It's not just the physical world. So Venus being in a trine to Saturn, who's in this retrograde, he's actually now direct, but he's back in the old sign. He's back in Pisces. So it's him back in Pisces for the final time of our lifetimes. He'll never be there again. Final time of our lifetimes. Will it be the final time of our lifetimes? For most of us, depending on how old you are, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's keep going with this. He's closing a huge chapter. Pisces is the final degree of it's the final sign of the zodiac. So it's like a bigger chapter closing. It's not just like, oh, he's moving into a new sign. He's literally going over the 0 point. Father Karma, Lord of Time. He's going over the 0 point with Neptune. This is like ridiculous. This is where a lot of astrologers are pointing to new Earth. Like this is where the new Earth is happening. This is the new human. This is the 0 point. This is the reset point. They finally happen next year in 2026. But now it's still these closing of the doors. So with Venus, where she's at, trining Saturn, she's saying, I can reveal more of what wants to close and collapse and be let go of through my body. So listen to the body. Listen, like, wow, when I'm around this person, I just get a gut ache. This doesn't feel good. Wow, when I'm around this person, I just light up. Oh, I come alive. So it's not just feeling like, the contraction or the closure of what we need to let go of. It's also feeling into what it is that opens us, that opens our heart, that lights us up. So we want to move toward those things. Follow your bliss, Joseph Campbell. That's how you kind of unfold your highest path forward, your greatest path forward, as you follow. What is it that lights you up? What is it that turns you on? What is it that illuminates you? It just like sparks the life in you. And that's Venus's, that's her litmus test. This brings me to life, the feminine. This helps me. This makes me blossom. This brings me to life. This opens me up. I feel more life force flowing through me. I feel more love flowing through me. That's her litmus test. Or I'm around this person and suddenly I feel closure. I feel contraction. I feel dull. I want to shrink. I want to hide on myself. Really good litmus test. Okay, so that's Wednesday. Venus trines Saturn. Then Venus trines Jupiter. So I don't know that I would necessarily say that Jupiter is wanting to deliver a whole lot of insights. You know how this is a revelatory, insightful week. Venus, body-based wisdom, is a translator to that. Saturn definitely wants to deliver insights. I mean, Saturn he's like Mr. Miyagi. He wants to give the life lessons. And so Venus can translate that. But Jupiter is more of, I just want to grace you. I want to grace you. I want to amplify things for you. I want to open things up. And so we can feel, if we come onto the revelation in insightful things, we can feel our feminine really being open and really being gifted. If we attune to that or shift to that, Jupiter can be like a real beautiful awakener to the feminine. So we could really feel, wow, I'm just awakening to more of my life force. I'm awakening to more of my body wisdom. Could be a really good day to do that body wisdom workshop. There's also Birthing a New World, which is the Medicine Woman Mysteries. That could also be a really good, that's on holiday special. I think that one's 50% off, maybe even a little more. I don't know. That one's crazy good deal. It's 7 modules. Like you literally go into like feminine mysteries, medicine woman mysteries. You rebirth yourself and your world anew. It's one of my favorite journeys that has ever come through this little being of mine. Really good time to be doing it now as we close out 2025. So that's on holiday special too. Could be a good day to start that as Jupiter's really gifting the feminine. You've got this real grace bomb behind you to really like fuel and support opening up to feminine mysteries, opening up to more of the gifts within our own feminine that we maybe haven't explored yet. We haven't embodied, we haven't embraced, we aren't expressing into the world yet. Okay. Final little aspect that we got to talk about on Wednesday. So this is the day before Thanksgiving for those of us who celebrate Thanksgiving. I know some of us don't. It can be very controversial, as is everything these days. Everything is controversial these days. So wherever we are at, just know I share all of this with just a ton of love. And I don't even know if I'm celebrating Thanksgiving this year. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I don't have plans at this point. But anyways, so day before Thanksgiving. So no, all of these energies are going to be going on. So some of us have big holiday plans. Some of us have big travel plans. Maybe you're in another country and you don't have any of that stuff. Amazing. We have the Sun Square Kali. Just a little bit of that. What does that mean? If you don't know the archetype of Kali, Kali is fierce grace. Kali is ego slayer. So we've been talking about how this is a very soul revelatory week. Soul path, your true self being revealed more to self. What does this mean? This is Kali taking out the ego, taking out the false self, taking out the little self. That's her gift. Taking that out to reveal the truer you. To reveal the big, soulful you. Pretty interesting. Kali being square is a challenging aspect, but squares make us move. So challenge in that a square makes a move happen. So if you're in a state or a phase of life where you're like, gosh, I really am kind of deepening into who am I? You know, that question, who am I? I know that's been a huge part of my journey as of late, because I feel like there's so much transformation happening so quickly inside of my system that I'm really deepening and going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Right? Who am I beyond the roles I play? Who am I beyond the family patterns that I was born into? Who am I beyond who I thought I was? Who am I beyond the value systems that was programmed into me? Who am I if I'm not a woman? I'm not an American. I'm not whatever the roles that we identify with. Who am I beneath that? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Very powerful revelation. So again, this is the revelation week, because the sun is conscious self. So it's conscious self revealing to you who you are at a deeper level, revealing that, you know, maybe you really step into this like lived experience. It's feminine aspect. It's Kali. So it's not a mental thing. It's not a disassociated out there sort of a thing. It's a lived experience of I am a soul having a human experience. I am a piece of the divine. I am interconnected to the infinite, all of everything. I am. So some of those big, not just talk about it or read about that shit in a book, like, oh wow, great mystical, you know, wisdom that I'm just reading about and cognizing and like regurgitating like a talking fucking head, like so much of the spiritual stuff out there. But I'm actually like every cell of my body is being that spiritual truth, like the becoming, the living of it. You live from that fucking place. A little bit of ferocity because it's Kali, you know, like a few more swear words, because that's the fierce grace. That's the fierce grace. Like, I have the capacity to cut through your ego stuff. I have the capacity to cut through false self, little self, absorbed conditioning, family patterning, past life shit. I have the capacity to cut through it. Pretty cool, right? So that's something fun for those of us celebrating Thanksgiving. It's something fun to take into Thanksgiving. You know, a little bit Kali, fierce grace, sword. So I'm talking about this happening inside of ourselves, but what about those of us who we sometimes express a little dark goddess outside of ourselves, you know? We sometimes show up to Thanksgiving dinner and we're just like wielding the Kali sword of like, I can't stand surface level right now. I can't stand your ego at this point. Here's an interesting one that I'm feeling this week too, is that we're really watching and looking at, and some light is being really spotlighted, shown. I don't know, whatever word that is. Light being really put on masculine ego structures, and how there is this ever increasing pressure for masculine ego structures to fucking collapse so that shit can evolve into the new. It's like, that's the thing in me, in the world, in many things that's just clinging and holding on to every last little drop of, you know, perceived power that it's had. But I'm really feeling a light. And you could say the sun is masculine ego. We could say that. And Kali is square masculine ego. We could say that. We could also say Mars squaring the nodes of fate, Mars masculine ego. That's just the warrior aspect of masculine ego, kind of being hit by the nodes of fate. We could say like, here you go. You're now evolving. We need you to shed the shit from the past and move into a more evolved, conscious expression of masculine. That's going on this week. That's happening this week in different aspects. So that Sun square Kali, Mars square the nodes of fate. If we like reverse it around as Mars isn't just the warrior for the nodes of fate. It's more like the nodes of fate working Mars also, because our nodes of fate, they'll work stuff. It'll karmically work stuff. And those nodes of fate working your masculine, my masculine aspect of just like evolve or die sunshine, evolve or die sunshine. So I'm seeing that happening a lot. Now, continuing on this thread of this masculine evolutionary piece this week, along with revelation, where you're accepting masculine toxicity in your life, or accepting masculine woundedness, or accepting, coddling masculine ego. Where do we coddle the masculine because we're afraid that his precious little ego is going to be crushed and then all hell is going to break loose? I'm not just talking about in men. This is not a gender thing. My own masculine ego, my own sense of self, my own, where have I coddled that because I'm afraid all hell's going to break loose if I let go of these ego structures that worked in the past, that I seemingly associate with safety and security. Yeah, it's pretty big. So let's keep going with this. This is huge. This is huge. Not all of us are going to be diving into this theme this week, but some of us are going to. We'll see it outside of ourselves. We might be seeing it in the news, in the collective. We might be seeing it in our family system. We might be seeing this in ourselves. So let's keep going here. Now, Thursday, happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating that. Mars, we've just been talking about Mars. Previously, Mars squaring the nodes of fate. Now, Mars is in a half square to Pluto. These are two big, powerful masculine archetypal energies. Pluto is, if we look at him as a soul point, because this is a very soulful week, if we look at Pluto as a soul point, he's the evolutionary point. He's the death, rebirth. I will help you evolve from the deepest depths of your being. Like evolutionary soul point, that's Pluto. Deep transformation. That's why they call him death, rebirth, right? It's a full death of self into a full rebirth of self. It's not surface level transformation. It's deep transformation. Deep evolution. So now he's hitting Mars. Mars is not a deep soulful point. Mars is a personal planet. Mars is literally how we help to translate deep soulful things out into the world, right? Mars and Venus, they're like right here. They flow through us. They're much more of a, you could say there's lower archetypal energies and then there's higher, like the lower and the upper archetypal energies. And all of these things can be divided, but it's a lower archetypal energy. Not lower bad, lower worse, not lower less magical, lower as in more in the 3D, more in the tangible, more in the physical. Like if I say to you, a warrior, and like every sports person has Mars in them. It's right there. Like we're expressing that shit like very easily. But then I say, like Neptune as an archetypal energy. You're like, Neptune, I don't know where the fuck Neptune's being expressed. I'm not seeing that on TV every Sunday when they're playing football. Like where the hell's Neptune? So this is another piece of this evolutionary of the masculine. It gets better. This is still Thursday. This is still Thanksgiving. So we've got Pluto doing this deep evolutionary thing to Mars, a very surface level masculine that we all have. It's very prominent in our world. Now we also have Priapus. Priapus. If we were to say there's a archetype to work with toxic masculine, I would number one pick Priapus. If someone said, Sabrina, what archetype should I work with to work with my own toxic masculine or my acceptance of toxic masculine or my relationship to toxic masculine in the world? Which archetype should I work with? Priapus. 100%. Like if you told me to pick a feminine archetype to work with toxic feminine, I would pick Lilith. It would be Lilith and Priapus. Those two, they will bring out toxic femininity and toxic masculinity like it ain't nobody's business. And interestingly, they will both bring out both. Lilith will bring out both toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. Priapus will bring out both toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. So now Priapus, Trine, Pluto. Pluto is just power. Pluto is evolution. We just talked about this, right? Deep transformation. So one, he's hitting Mars on Thursday, and two, he's hitting Priapus, the equivalent to Lilith. Deep. So Priapus is the statue. If you don't know anything about Priapus, Priapus is that like statue, that Greek god with just huge phallus. What's your relationship to like full masculine fertility? What's your, I mean, not even just that symbolism alone, that's going to bring up a whole lot of stuff. It's going to bring a whole lot of judgment. It's going to bring a whole lot of toxicity up, a whole lot of interesting relationship to the fullness of masculine power. But what wants to happen is that masculine power wants to be purified. Wants to be purified, wants to be evolved, wants to come up to the next most conscious expression. Because masculine sexuality in the full expression can also be and is also totally fucking sacred. Totally fucking sacred, totally divine. How much work do we got to do to get there, though? How much wounding, how much belief systems, how much all that stuff do we have to do to get there? Interesting place, right? For a Thanksgiving day. Little tiny bit more. On Thursday, Thanksgiving, the moon is conjunct Persephone. We've talked a little bit about this last week. I don't want to go into much more of this. This week, if you want to go back, you can look at last week's and just listen to the section on Persephone, Mary Magdalene, Uranus. It's very powerful. It's very powerful feminine opening. Moon conjunct Persephone. Persephone is Hades or Pluto's consort, queen of the underworld. So we have the moon lighting up Persephone, opposing Mary Magdalene. So this is opening up more of this feminine wisdom, the sacred heart energy, body wisdom. Remember I said like body wisdom, like let's translate some of this. So Mary Magdalene will translate through the heart oftentimes. Persephone will translate through lower wisdom center. Like she'll translate through sexual energy. She'll translate womb wisdom. Like she'll translate deeper areas of the body. So those are being lit up and they're in a square to Uranus, same as last week. I won't go into too much more of this. We'll kind of leave it there because I think I'm getting really intense on Thanksgiving. But no, here's what I want to say is know that a lot of these archetypal energies, they're in deeper territory. And for a lot of us, they're still very unconscious. So for many of us, Persephone is very much an underworld, unconscious. She'll just move you around and you won't necessarily know that you're acting out Persephone. Pluto, the unconscious, the underworld, it's not a super conscious aware for many of us. But I'm talking about this and pointing a light to it so that maybe a little more of it becomes conscious. And remember, that's the path to enlightenment. Carl Jung, the path to enlightenment, it isn't imagining like bright, shiny light figures. It's bringing more light into the dark. It's bringing more of your unconscious into the conscious. So all these archetypes are really doorways into how can you bring more of your unconscious self to the conscious? How can you be more enlightened? How can you be more involved? How can you be more awake and more aware? Those are the archetypal journeys. That's IX. For some of you, you've done IX. You've done the archetypes. We just opened up archetype IX, which is a journey into these 36 archetypes. Priapus is in there. Lilith is in there. Persephone is in there. Mary Magdalene is in there. Pluto is in there. Every one of the things that I've been talking about today are archetypal journeys. They are embodied journeys. They are activating that aspect of self to bring it out of the unconscious, out of the hidden, out of the unknown, into the known, into the conscious. It's a path of enlightenment. like not the weird, esoteric-y spiritual term of enlightenment. It's the path of know thyself, and you know you're hidden. The hidden actually becomes known parts of self. Powerful, profound, completely life-changing. We don't open up that mystery school very often, but we opened it up for holiday specials. I know, who the hell opens up a mystery school during a holiday special? We do, because we want to make it accessible to people and we want to give people something that can hold you through 2026. Because 2026, if you've been hanging out with me, you know these are the dragonfly years. You know this is the year of the closing door. This is the year that we are really moving into new human, new earth, next level being. And these 36 archetypes are what open us up to all of these capacities in self that are coming out of dormancy into being alive, awake, these gifts that switch on these new capacities. You just become the new human, literally journeying all 36 of those. So anyways, that's on holiday specials. We took $1,000 off of that journey and added on 3 months of coaching. So I'm going to coach us through January, February, and March, 3 months of that. I would say it's a year long. It took me a year to bring all of that through. I would do it as a year-long journey. So that's something that can hold you through this wildly, I would say, potentiality time. It's a time of huge potentials. 2026. Spoke about this in that Richard Rudd conversation. He's been very tuned into what's going on in 2026. So again, if you haven't seen that Instagram live and you want to go check it out, we'll put a link to that too. All right, let's keep going here. So Friday, I love this. It's more dark goddess. It's more dark goddess. So dark goddess, that would have been Lilith that we were talking about earlier when I spoke that Kali would be dark goddess. So now we get to Friday the 28th and we have Venus. Venus, that feminine body, wisdom. Venus, very much on the surface, very easy to, very accessible. She's a personal planet. She's conjunct the black moon. So remember, she was dancing with Mercury earlier, conjunct Mercury. Now she's conjunct black moon. Black moon is the conglomerate of the dark goddesses. So now on Friday, this is Black Friday, we could get a little wild on Black Friday. You might want to watch it, because when the dark goddess comes in and we're really, a personal planet is being touched by the dark goddess, or we're really tapped into the dark goddess, there are no limits. She literally goes, all of these society constraints, they are just stupid. None of this is actually real. She really brings out, you could feel into all of the reclamation of the wild woman, the reclamation of full self, you know, where the feminine always has this feeling of I'm too much, blah, blah, blah. And so she diminishes a good portion of her intuition, of her sexuality, of her life force, of her aliveness, of her wisdom, of her knowing, because she feels like she lives in a world that judges her and deems her too much. You're too emotional, you're too chaotic, you're too whatever. The dark goddess goes, oh honey, you are not too much. You are life itself. You are life itself. You own all of that. You own all of your intuition. You own all of your feminine power. You own all of your life force, all of your juice. Own it. That's what's happening on Friday. It's literally the dark goddess is saying to all of us through our body, through Venus. So it's very embodied of just, and there's more to you. And there's more to you. There's more intuition. There's more life force. There's more juice. There's more aliveness. There's more creativity. There's more feminine flow. There's more. Open to it. Could be a really good day for that body wisdom workshop too, or the Birthing a New World. Great week for the whole Birthing a New World workshop. So that's 7 modules. You could just start on Monday, go through one every single day. So crazy supported of opening up to wisdom, opening up to the feminine wisdom. How much have we done? How much have we done in the deep sacred feminine, like for real? And how embodied is it? Are you expressing those deep sacred feminine wisdom gifts into your lovemaking, into your work in the world, into your every decision in your life? Or is it just something you read about in a book? Because that's not what she's interested in. That's not the deep sacred feminine. It's the embodiment of it. It's the becoming it. You are it. You live it. You are it. You don't just read about black moon, you know, like, oh yeah, oh, there's this like wild, deep sacred feminine mystery out there. No, you become the mystery. You are the mystery. You embrace, you express the mystery. By the way, all of that is also an aspect of that archetype IX journey, because you'll go through, I think it's like 60% of the archetypes are the feminine archetypes. And I went for the deeper, the bigger ones, the more mystical ones, the ones that we haven't had a chance to work with in this life. We haven't been taught how to reclaim our Lilith. We haven't been taught how to reclaim our Hecate. We haven't been taught, let's go on the masculine side, how to reclaim our Merlin. We haven't been taught your Saturn. Have you done your Saturn work? What is that? Because there's gifts there too. So both the masculine and the feminine. So if that's singing a big journey to hold you through this moment in time and through next year, and you're like, wow, I really don't know how to step into the new, or I don't know, you know, how to like ride this wave of evolutionary transformation, of consciousness expansion. Feel if that's for you. Feel if that's for you. Again, it's on holiday special, and doors will close to that. Okay, so 29th, now we get to Saturday. Mercury stations direct. When a planet stations direct, that energy gets louder. So what does that mean? That means mercurial energy. This was the mind. We started this conversation with saying that the mind can really translate insights this week. So that's something that you could definitely do on Saturday, is go, okay, I'm going to do journal prompting. I'm going to have conversations with my people. I'm going to really open up my mystic mind. That's Mercury, the Psychopomp. I'm going to really open up my mystic mind, and I'm going to reflect back. What has this, I think it's been about 3 weeks. I can't remember the exact date he went retrograde, but what has this little 3-week journey been about? What have been the themes? What are the insights? What have I learned? What have I gained? What are my steps forward? Because once Mercury then goes direct, he's now in his post-shadow phase. This is where we then ground in all that's been unearthed, all that's been shifted in the Mercury retrograde. Now we actually make the shifts in the physical, tangible world. Okay, so also on the 29th, Venus. Remember I was talking about those 29-degree planets where it's Neptune at 29 degrees, Uranus at 29 degrees, and it's very powerful. It's very like ending, closing of doors. What are you karmically closing? Now, Venus translates them because Venus opposes Uranus on the 29th. So Venus opposes Uranus. So it's like she's translating what is Uranus doing at the 29th degree for you in Taurus. What were these lightning bolt changes? What are the things that I've maybe missed? What are the things that I maybe haven't radically revolutionized? That's all Uranian energy. Radical revolutionary, radically revolutionized. And Taurus is very grounded. It's earthy. It's the whole body. So it's like these last final swipes. And Venus, your feminine, can translate that. So again, it's body wisdom. Tap into what is my heart saying, what is my womb saying, do the body wisdom workshop, really opening up to body wisdom, and then just go, what is Uranus saying through my body? What is Uranus saying through my body? And then on the 30th, do Neptune. So on Sunday, Venus trines Neptune. What is Neptune saying in my body? And remember, they're both at 29 degrees. That's the karmic anaretic degree. It is deeply karmic. It is deeply close these doors. It is deeply here. Do not miss these last bits of karma to dissolve. Do not miss these last bits of soul contracts to complete. Do not miss these. Stunning that it's Venus able to translate these. Stunning, crazy powerful. All right, my dear friend, it's been amazing to be with you. It's always amazing to be with you. I'm in the comments the first couple days after a video goes out. Love to see you there. Love to see you as a subscriber. That super helps us. Like, as you know, like, of course, you're then subscribed. You get notifications on things. But subscribing, it helps us. Like, it helps. And we have this saying in ReWilding. We like to keep it simple around here. And we go, what is our, like, mission? What is our motto? I mean, we have a few of them. But this one is one that we just repeat ad infinitum. Like, make good shit and share it. It's really, we just want to create good shit, bring good shit through, channel good shit, do good shit, and then share it. And you can super help us share it. Super help us to share it. Even just subscribing super helps us share it. Commenting super helps us share it. Share it with a couple people. Super helps us share it. But just grateful to be here with you. Grateful we get to do this. Tons of love. Next thing I'd invite you to do, if you haven't seen that Richard Rudd Instagram live, I would go watch that thing. It was mystical madness of just like blowing minds around it, and the feedback that we got from that conversation, it's not stopping, just because it's like, oh my God, this was the thing I needed to hear. Oh my God, this is what made sense to everything that I've been going through. Oh my God, I now have the next 3 steps on how to take my path forward. And if you want something tangible to do, like some tangible stuff, go check out the holiday specials. 4 programs are 50% off. We opened up IX and membership for those of you who would love to journey monthly and just stay in alignment with the energies and the activations that are going on each month. That's where I teach live each month. It's a very powerful container. You get 4 months of membership for free if you do the year-long membership. That's on holiday special. Only these things are only happen during holiday special. So you'll find all that stuff below. And I just wish you the most amazing week. Like, I wish you so many revelations, so many insights, and just fucking goodness. We need a little more goodness in this world right now. We need a little more love. We need a little more compassion. We need a little more, like, we're all in this crazy thing together, this crazy train. I literally feel like we're on just a crazy train together. And so I'm right here with you, walking beside you, loving you, and super grateful we get to do this. All right. Have an awesome week. I will see you when I see you, where I see you, and how I see you.